Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Becca and today we are doing another edition of Reddit React. We're going to look through my most recent saves on my Reddit account and see what the heck the plant community is up to on Reddit. I've done a couple of these already, so I will link all of the ones I've already done down below. I have a playlist. You should enjoy them all. And let's get started with the next one. Okay, starting strong, we have this plant. If we can even call it that. It says, "What is this I was gifted?" And just based off of seeing like multiple stalks that look kind of like caney, I'm going to assume that this is like a cornstalk plant of some sort. But this is like objectively one of those situations that is just really funny, and OP is definitely not trying to be funny, but as we have learned in the past, people on Reddit just kind of see stuff like this and then run with it, and then they usually don't get an answer, or you have to dig really far to get an answer. You were gifted a free pot, which is true. A nice pot, actually, a big ceramic pot. That pot is probably like a good 50 bucks, if not more. So good score on that front. Next comment, you could even put a living plant in there. Next comment says, "I have a degree in botanical sciences, and this is indeed a stick. Happy to help." Yep, I have a PhD in stickology, and that's definitely what it is. Someone said, "Who gave you this?" Which is my question. Like, somebody was ruling on this person's downfall, and they were like, "Here's this plant, good luck." So anyway, I picked this one. Congrats, you have a stick. We get a reply from OP that says, "Yay, lifelong dream of a stick. At least I got a new pot out of it then." In all seriousness, you can score the stem slightly to see if there's a green. If there is, try cutting it back to soil level and water very carefully, while placing it in as much sunlight as you can. If there's green, it might come back, and then you'll know what it is. Double win. That's true. I'm glad we did get like a real answer of like what you could do. But the reason that after I saved this one, and this happens a lot, but you'll see a post and then you will see it again in Houseplant Circle Jerk, or like a joke version of it. And it's kind of like an internet inside joke, essentially. So the next one is, "What is this I was gifted?" It's just a stock image of a stick. Somebody referenced the original post, and yes, okay, you can see how it was like one right after the other on their feed. That's exactly what it was like for me. We're gonna look at another situation where someone was perhaps not a real one. A lot of the time I will see these posts and I will look at them on a very surface level, by the way, because I'm scrolling Reddit like before I go to bed or whatever else. And so I'll see like a post that is like worthy of one of these videos and I will save it, but I won't look too deeply at it. So I think I might have saved this one without actually looking at it because the photo is blurred, as you can see. "Someone gave my mom's houseplant a haircut. Someone at my mom's work decided her plant needed a trim and claimed it's good for them. I know what I'm doing. Needless to say, my mom is devastated. She's taking them home to recover. Any ideas, any helpful tips for a speedy recovery would be appreciated." How bad is it? Oh no. You're kidding me. This looks like a feral cat got into the office, because this is what cats do to spider plants. They just bite the tips right off. You're joking. That is crazy behavior. To do that to your coworker? Your coworker. Do we not have office decorum? You don't go into another coworker's space, let alone touch their plants. Listen, I work in a corporate office environment, and a lot of people have plants at their desk, and thankfully they all look very healthy. But even if they didn't, this plant looked like it was very healthy, but even if the plants looked like they were dying, I would never touch their plants. Never. This is murderous behavior. Let's see what the comments say. "I'd be sent to HR for my reaction." Yeah, same. Me too. I'm super protective of my plants, even ones I gift to friends I check up on. "She should seriously report this to HR. It's not okay to touch other people's things, even in an open office setting. Does this adult toddler have a job in the office? I'd be seriously questioning their qualifications to be in charge of anything if this is what they do with something they shouldn't be concerned with. It's a healthcare setting as well. I hope this person isn't doing this to residents' plants." Oh my gosh. Someone says this explains it. I don't know if there's like some healthcare worker jokes that I'm not aware of here. "I swear some people treat every plant like it's a hedge or a lawn. That, or they think every plant can branch when cut. yeah, I think this is really stemming from someone not understanding the growth habit of that plant, because there are some plants that when you cut it back, it will grow back bushier. But I think it's pretty obvious that this plant is not one of those, and they literally have no reason to be poking around at someone else's plant. Like this is, I would be so upset, because spider plants are very hardy and it's not gonna die or anything, but it is gonna take time for it to regenerate and like get back to where it was. Like months, like let's say 6 months before it looks like normal again. But I'm so sorry to this person's mom that happened. That is horrifying. Okay, is it really a houseplant Reddit React if we don't have a pest? So the jade plant looks dirty, question mark? Yeah, I'd say so. I don't know what this is. Like the white fly is what comes to mind, but I don't know. Obviously it looks like a bunch of flies and they're white, so that's why I think that. But this plant is absolutely infested. Like it looks like the plant has a sticky substance. Like what is it? Tarred and feathered. It looks like this plant has been tarred and feathered with pest. So let's see what the comments say it is. Oh my gosh, it's covered in bugs. Might be aphids. Kind of hard for me to tell which in these photos. Take it outside and hose it off. As many of those as possible, then spray it with neem oil. Jades are tough, it'll probably survive. Okay, boo on the neem oil. I really don't think neem oil is a long-term effective solution for pests. And I've talked about this a lot on my channel. Like if you want to use a natural thing, I guess, like I get it. I completely understand the sentiment of wanting to use a natural product, and neem oil feels very safe, but it's so stinky. And also it's just not very effective long-term. So I would suggest definitely in any pest situation, using a systemic. There are more natural systemics out there. The one that I use the most time is SNS 209. I love that one. There's also a bunch from different brands. Really anything that says like systemic insecticide is probably going to do the trick. And then as far as like a natural suggestion, you can mix dish soap with rubbing alcohol and water. These are all like things we probably have already. So you can make that little mixture. And I really don't measure a ton. I just like fill it mostly with water, put a squirt of dish soap and then like a squirt of the alcohol. That's what I would suggest for something like this, but definitely take it outside and like hose it down to get all of the nasty stuff off of it. And I might even repot it, to be honest, because I don't know how many of these are going to fall into the soil and how many are already in the soil, because they could just like climb back up and reinfest the plant. Okay, next up we have the $4.99 grocery store special, but what is it? This is a Monstera Thai Constellation, and at what point it was one of the most coveted houseplants out there. Everybody was looking for it, everybody was overpaying for it, and you got it for $4.99, which is insane. Thank you, tissue culture. Somebody says, remembering when these used to be hundreds of dollars, great find, Monstera Thai Constellation. Just saw another post with an $89 price tag on one. Bigger than this, but not that much bigger. Saw that too, and people were saying $20, $30, $40 and so on and up. What the hell? Now here's one for $5. I got into an argument on this sub 4 to 5 years ago. Someone was arguing that their $1,800 Thai Constellation was a good investment because they will never depreciate. Okay. Who calls plants investments or talks about it depreciating? Like, do you guys buy plants to resell? There's actually a lot of people who do that, and it's similar, like this comment says underneath it, scalpers, flippers, resellers, dropshippers. They exist in every hobby. Yes, and they oftentimes make this hobby very irritating for people who are really just in it to enjoy the plants, because when these Monstera Thai Constellations came out, in stores, like big box stores, and they were like a normal price. Like I think they might have sold them at first for like maybe $50 or maybe it was like $30, but it was like really approachable and they were big. But people bought them and then instantly resold them. But these people are usually often picked out because, you know, you recognize the plants. They all kind of look similar when they're grown in a similar environment, and you can figure out pretty quickly who is reselling plants that they just bought at Walmart. I love this one so much. Okay, so r/male living space is one of my favorite subreddits to just like lurk on. Also r/female living space, because it's just very interesting, the contrast in these two situations. So this one was posted in Male Living Space, and it says before/after getting married to a gal with a minor plant disorder. Don't love the wording, but I understand the sentiment. Okay, so first, it's like pretty good for a male living space. Honestly, for some of the ones that I've seen, this is not bad. So we have this one. And then the next slide, oh my gosh. Okay, maybe I understand the verbiage now. There are so many plants. Okay, so we have an IKEA greenhouse cabinet, or I think that's like the Rudsta or one of the other, not a Millsbow, but it's one of the different ones. Monstera, she's a propagation queen. We've got some ficus, we've got a Rhaphidophora. We have a very beautiful fern or rickrack cactus, but I think that's a fern, which is really impressive because look at how long that is. Another Monstera. I think she's just propagating her one Monstera. And we have some mounted staghorn ferns, some Platycerium. That's cool. That looks really good on that mantelpiece right there because before there was nothing on it. And now look. Also, she brought art, so she brought a lot more than just the plants, okay? Okay, this view is gonna slap because look at those huge windows. I knew it. I knew it. A queen among us. Who is she? Who is this queen? I love this upside down pipe. I just seriously think that's the coolest thing when people do that. I never got around to doing that ever, but I think it's awesome. Okay, so what is she gonna do on the opposite wall? Wow, this is incredible. Look at just like how like sterile it feels. It's the same furniture and even the same painting, but it just like feels like there's life in this house. I love this post so much because truly this is beautiful. Oh my gosh, I love that grand piano and I love the light fixture. It looks like the same light fixture, but maybe just colored bulbs. Anyway, this was one of my favorite posts that I came across on my Reddit excursions, like probably ever. I think it's awesome. Unbothered, moisturized, happy, in my lane, focused, flourishing. This is me. She married bro for his windows, 100%. She saw those windows and said, bet. Like, I'm about to do something incredible in this place. This is what our house would look like if we didn't have plant chopping cats or curious kids. My plants live outside for this reason, minus our cactus and Venus flytrap. Yeah, that's understandable. I think like kids and pets really kind of shape how the house can work. For me, I would not like as beautiful as this is, I would not like the living room situation feels very overwhelming to me. There's just too much going on, but I'm very happy that they are happy. And a lot of people really enjoy this like maximalist plant aesthetic, which like I do too. Clearly I have this room, but I like it to be like in this space. Like I really don't have plants like in my living space because I just don't like feeling like there's a ton of clutter. We are going to end off. There's a lot more that I've saved, but I'm actually gonna save it for a part 2 because I don't want these videos to be too long. But we have an Am I the Asshole for leaving a plant seller a 4-star review. Am I the Asshole is kind of where I started on Reddit because I was seeing a bunch of people's videos about it. And I just think these are so intriguing. So here we go. Somebody received a plant that looked like this and they still gave 4 stars. That leaf is mangled. Okay, that broken leaf on your review, those are there to provide energy to new growth. They usually don't make it out of the prop box. It was broken because it wasn't important. What was important was the new growth. Anything less than 5 stars reflects negatively on my little small business. I always tell everyone to message me before you slam blank negatively. Thanks for understanding. If it wasn't important, then people wouldn't attempt to ship them. I get that stuff happens, but the fact that it did break during shipping will affect how the rest of it will grow for me. The new growth will be smaller as if it were a wet stick. 4 stars isn't a slam. As a seller, you do not decide what's important to a buyer. It sucks, but adjust your shipping if it's a common issue for you. Yeah, I do agree. I'm trying to figure out like fully like what the plant looks like, but clearly a leaf fully snapped off, which in my opinion is never okay because it's very possible to ship plants, even large plants, without this happening. And if you're opening a store to sell plants, you should definitely not have this happen. And honestly, this is a big reason why I will never get into selling plants because happens, and as the seller you kind of have to take responsibility for that and issue a refund or try to replace the plant or a partial refund even. Like, I don't know, I just really feel that if you have, even if it's a shipping issue, and this might be controversial, but if it's a shipping issue due to like the shipment company like completely crushing the box, then that makes sense. But if the plant is not properly insulated and like packaged. In these situations, it makes sense that this happened, and clearly that is the fault of the seller. This purchase came from Palm Street, which actually I think is an app where like regular people can like list their plants, like a Poshmark but for plants. I think that's what that is. They've had 50-50-ish positive experience on there. Most issues arise due to shipping, some carrier issues and some seller issues, packing the plants up days before shipping, and despite 2-day shipping, the plants arrived bone dry and not alive. There's no excuse. Honestly, I think there's no excuse. They paid $25 for a Monstera albo. It was in a mystery plant shipment. The seller didn't really package it well. The plants were all in perlite and simply wrapped in newspaper without securing the perlite at all. Okay, yep, I've seen what I need to see. The person was not taking care in how they were packing this plant, so it makes sense that it broke. There was perlite all over the box and most roots had fully dried out due to being in perlite and newspaper. See, it's just perlite and newspaper is not the way to go. If you are wanting to ship plants bare root, I would say like sphagnum moss or cocoa peat. Those are some really good options and they'll come away from the roots really easily. Also, I find it really annoying, like as a consumer, when I open a box and it's just a mess, because obviously it's a plant, but there are ways to keep soil from getting everywhere. And I like when I can see that a company has like at least made an effort to make sure that doesn't happen. And of course, during shipment, if the pot is like literally upside down and like shaken around, you're gonna get soil everywhere. But I like to see there was at least an effort to hold in the soil. And there's lots of companies who do that very, very well. I didn't message the seller directly because a broken leaf isn't something I'd expect a refund for. I left him a 4-star review, which I thought was generous given the amount of movement the plants went through in shipping, which is ultimately the seller's responsibility to try to minimize. Agree. If I think 4 stars is very generous. I think I would have done 3 stars personally. I would think it was harsh if the plants were packaged generally well, but some bad luck in shipping meant a leaf had broken. But docking a star because the plants were dried out and rattling around the box resulting in damage sounds completely reasonable. Agreed. TBH, if a seller messaged me to complain about the rating I left, I would never do business with them again. Completely understand that. I don't plan to anymore. Makes me think all their reviews are fake. If they complain about getting 4 stars, I'd give them 1 star. Felt. If a seller is unhappy enough with the feedback that you left to feel they must contact you, it should be focused on, is there anything I can do to make this better for you? 100% yes. If they want to communicate that you are wrong about your observation, it should be framed as their perspective. It's really easy to not be obnoxious when asking someone to reconsider something. They contacted you primarily to let you know that they were upset with you, not to fix the situation. Yes, okay, generally not the asshole. This situation is really annoying. I've been in a very similar situation. I got called a Karen because I was not happy with the way a plant was packaged and it resulted in the plant breaking. That might be the only time I've ever truly had a heinous unboxing experience. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me on this Houseplant Reddit deep dive. I have a lot more posts that I saved that I just won't get to today, but I will be filming another one. So stay tuned. Subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up and comment down below your favorite Reddit houseplant interaction you've seen this week. If you have any, I would love to hear them. And I'll see you next time. Bye.